I have a brother who's 8 years younger than me. And I played a father figure role in his life. And he eventually moved here with me to get out of Kansas City to start a life. He's flourishing, man. He's doing a really, really good job now.
Awesome.
I'm saying all that to say we had some of the worst times, man. I don't even think we liked each other, to be quite frank. I imagine there being some level of resentment that he had for situation with his father.
That's some different fathers.
Yeah, and just even his, and just even me just being the role. I wasn't the best father figure, whatever the fuck that even means. You know, I'm 8 years older than you. I don't know nothing, but I think I do at the same time, you know, and so I'm just trying to do the best that I can. And so it was hard for me to transition from a father figure type role to just like a brother, witnessing and supporting, as opposed to guiding. And I don't know if I necessarily transitioned well. And as a result, our relationship suffered. And even when I did transition, there was still these old habits and patterns lingering. I can say though, and my brother will vouch for it, we were in the best position we've ever been in our lives, and that started maybe about a year ago, bro, 2 years ago. That strain can really hurt, man. I'm only saying that to say that through all of those years of challenges, you know, I can attest that you can turn a corner. I don't know what's required for that necessarily, but it's
I do appreciate hearing that, man, because that's what keeps me. I'm busy with things, but you know, when my brothers come up and I have this pit feeling, what keeps me going is the sense that at some point there will be a turn. You know what I'm saying? And I try not to force it. You know, I think my mom just kind of deputized me as like father number two kind of early. So from middle school, man, I was picking them up from like their school stuff, and you know, everybody after school would be playing basketball, and I wouldn't. You know, I'd go to the daycare center and pick them up, and I would just do that consistently up until high school. I started to play football, and I really was allowed to kind of have my own thing. But that whole period, I did it without, you know, I didn't complain. I just knew that was my thing to do, and I just did what I needed to do. Always was that. And whenever I had a new bit of advice for them, I was always happy to try to share my experiences. And I think the difficulty of it is you take that on as your identity, and I think that created tension too. You know, I think unfortunately my mom, in her best effort, she used me as this example, like do things Billy are doing, and that created resentment and issues. But then also there was a time when I was out here in DC trying to figure my shit out, and I would go back to Brooklyn, and they lived together in the PJs in Brooklyn, and you know, I'm trying not to get emotional over it, but I would go home and I was just trying to I felt like my role was to go through the difficult stuff and then share it with them. And I was like proud of that potential and that opportunity. So I'd go home and things were in disarray with them. I knew that they weren't happy. And I knew that, and I'd come home and I'd see the nature of things. Like, they're artists too. One's a comedian, the other does music, but they weren't meeting their potential. They knew that. I knew that. And I don't think necessarily like I'm not like an asshole, you know, I'm not the type, but I'm definitely like, you know, persistently like, yo, what's up? You know, what's going on with this? Da-da-da. And I realize now, sometimes people just want it, they want to do their thing, and they want a brother. They want somebody to grab a drink with and to laugh with and to do dumb, silly shit with. They don't want father number two.
Yeah.
And so all that led to a messed up situation. Plus stuff out of my control, stuff that has nothing to do with me, stuff with, like we also have different fathers, you know. So there's all this stuff that plays into it. And I've had to have grace with myself and to say, notice the little things I could have done differently, but also say, yo, this is way bigger than me. And man, it's gone in a direction I didn't really foresee, and that's okay. But I would love to arrive at a place that where you and your brother have. You know?
Yeah. I had a lot of resentment for my brother because I was doing a lot of what you were doing, and I didn't get to have fun, man. And I took that out on him in a lot of fucked up ways. And I had a lot of guilt, bro, about being a bad brother. I had a lot of guilt for a long time. You know, and just even, you know, there were conversations where my brother would tell me, like, man, I'm just so thankful that I had you in my life. And I was telling myself these stories about like how bad of a brother I was because I was just so angry at him for having to be responsible. And you know, once we had these conversations, once they were honest, they were hard but necessary. You know, it created like this foundation. I had to own things and tap into things that I wasn't that I just kind of put on autopilot in a way and just made it a part of how we interacted. But I had to at least address those in my own shit so that when we did turn the corner, I had done all the work necessary on my side that I could control to just create space for it. And it was it was my relationship with my brother, man, is one of the closest relationships that I have. And, you know, even when we were tripping, it was that way. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it grew into that. Like, you were always the most important fucking relationship I had. You know, we just weren't acting like it, bro. And that was the difficult part, but the great accomplishment of my life and of my story to say that, you know, we getting it right, we got it right, we figured it out.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and just thought that I would share that, bro.
I love that. Yeah, man. My middle brother, I love that. My middle brother, several years ago, we had a deep convo where he said straight away, like, he didn't know that I liked him. I was like, damn, that's what hit me. Like, wow, why would he think that? What was I doing? To me, I'm demonstrating love by being this persistent example, and then also a persistent, like, have you considered this? Yo, check this out. Yo, what are your goals? I'm always checking in with their goals and always trying to, like, give it, you know, oh, you're into music? Here, let me buy this thing for you. Let me, you know, hook you up with this. Oh, you're into comedy? I know somebody who's doing this. Let me connect you with that. And, you know, he was talking about just chilling. And the thing about me, I've had trouble just being present, man. I've been doing so much. When I came out to DC from Capitol Hill and just trying to get my footing and figure the career out, and I wasn't, I don't know, man. I was very self-oriented, and this is where I take on my stuff, is I feel as if I could have done more to just make sure we saw each other multiple times a year and that it was just fun, you know? It was just fun. We just gonna kick it, man. Fuck it. Let's just kick it. Let's just wild out. Even as adults, you know, we didn't do that. And as children, we didn't do it. And as adults, whenever we saw each other, we would grab a beer, but I would always make sure, because I'd be in DC and they were in New York, I'd always make sure there was some time to have a serious conversation.
Oh man, I know that.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey man, let's talk about
Your future.
yeah, like
What
some
you want
guidance
out of
counselor
life.
type motherfucker, yeah.
But you know what though? Listen, man. When you're a hammer, everything's a nail. And one of the things that came up in one of your videos that really resonated with me was this idea of fixer. And you know, we start with ourselves, and that requires action. And then you realize that I'm not really fixing anything. I'm just doing shit. Almost like running a hamster wheel in a way. And you're looking for things to fix. And at least for myself, I got to a point to when I realized I wasn't broken. There's nothing wrong with me. What the fuck? I've spent 20 years trying to fix something that ain't broken. And then when you realize that you've been imposing that on other people, and then you wonder, you're like, damn, I wonder how that showed up for them. I know how it made me feel. I'm in my, I know me, I'm in me. And I know how that made me feel. Just imagining the ways in which that was making other people feel when I'm imposing that on them. Exactly. Motherfucker, I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Like, why we can't just chill? This ain't broke, bro. Exactly. Like, let's just... But that's for a fixer, man. That's what we're looking for things. And if it ain't broke...
Might break it and fix it again.
Yeah, thing.
Man.